So as promised, man, Illmatic, one of the greatest albums to ever come out of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Released in '94, definitely groundbreaking from production to lyrics to his flow to his quotables to his storytelling. It just was an incredible album, and just breaking down everything is no need. You already know that it's a dope project. You know what I mean? From the beginning of the album with the Genesis, you got him and his crew talking. You know, that's just amazing. You hear AZ in there that is talking about all type of shit. Nas gotta let him know, you know, this is Queensbridge. It goes into New York State of Mind with a great sample from Mind Rain. You know, that song is pretty dope. I definitely love the boom bap sound, the hook, the lyrics, the quotes, the storytelling. Great record. Then it goes into Life is a Bitch featuring AZ. Definitely love that sample. You know, that sample contains sample from Yearning for Love, you know, by the Gap Band. Definitely dope. That's one of my favorite records on there. Just had a classic sound. You know, this is the first time I heard AZ, and I was like, wow, these two together are simply amazing. Goes into The World Is Yours, you know, of course, a lot of his work, insane quotables, you know. Jay sampled something from this song, you already know that. It just was an amazing record at the time. And then going into halftime, this shit was so fucking raw. Like the lyrics, the dope delivery, the sample, the beat, it was just raw emotion, you know. It was halftime. Like that beat was insane. You know, I was like, wow, this shit was dope. And mind you, I didn't hear it in '94. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear this album until like 2000s, like a year before Stillmatic came out. Then it goes into Memory Lane, which is one of my favorite tracks. You know what I mean? In quotation, sitting in the park, just a sample, the storytelling that he's telling you. You know, it just was simply dope. And I'm like, wow, that's one of my favorite records. I play that shit at least 5 times when I listen to it. You know, contains a sample, We're in Love, you know, performed by Ruben Wilson. Definitely a good look. And then it goes into One Love, definitely talking to his homies in jail, you know, for the first couple verses. And the third verse, you know, him just reflecting on a little homie though that's in the hood. Definitely dope. It reminded me of the scene from Belly when he goes into the projects and you see Shorty on the bench, and you know what I mean, he definitely was like, yo, look in your pocket, and you dig what I'm saying? So that kind of, when I listened to it, made me remember that scene from Belly. That shit was kind of dope. And then it goes into One Time for Your Mind. You know, that's a straight 90s sound. You know, the lyrics on there was just impeccable. His flow was just flawless. You dig? I had no problem with that record. It's just a flawless album. You know, it reminded me of when MJ did Thriller, how it was just like 9 records or whatever, something like that, just concise perfectly. You know what I mean? Then it goes into Represent, another one of my favorites. You know, dope, rapping where you from, you know, game spitting, you know, he was saying the craziest shit. Like one, he was like, the school dropout never liked this shit from day one. Cause life ain't shit but stress, fake niggas and crab guts. So I guzzle my Henny while pulling out mad blunts. Like that nigga was going off on that record, you know what I mean? I was like, damn, listen to this nigga. Like, I think he was what, 20 years old when this album dropped. Amazing. Then it goes into my last track, It Ain't Hard to Tell, and this was the first visual I actually remember seeing. You know how sometimes BET will do the whole throwback, you know what I mean, videos and shit like that. And I was like, wow, that MJ sample was crazy the way he freaked it. You know what I mean? You got Nas, you know, on the old school phones and everything like that. His wordplay, you know, his flow, the beat, it just everything worked perfectly, man. Nas just delivered a classic album, you know. And Columbia Records at the time, I don't really think they really understood what they had. You know, it's just the same thing with, you know, Hove when he dropped Reasonable Doubt. It took a while for, you know, this album to actually get the recognition that it deserves. You gotta remember, on the 10th anniversary, that's when it finally was platinum, because they put out the 10th anniversary. It was a platinum edition. It went platinum in 10 years, you know what I mean? And then 20 years later, you know, that version of it came out. So this album is definitely still something I put on to this day. And it feels just like you in 1994 when you put it on. You don't feel like, damn, this some old ass music. I don't feel like hearing this shit. I mean, he was ahead of his time, hands down. Like, you got to give it up to Nas, like, for just being a trendsetter at just being vocal about what's really going on in the communities in the hood, at least where he from, you know, because in every interview he tell you he's from Queensbridge, you know, he rep where he from, he let you know what's going on in Queensbridge, you know, and some would say out of his whole catalog that this is his best album. I disagree. I think out of Nas' entire catalog, depending on who you are as a fan, if you go for, you know, the music itself or do you go by numbers, you know, I'm never a numbers man. I go by music itself. I enjoyed this album, Stillmatic, The Lost Tapes, God's Son, of course. It was written. I really didn't get to hear Nostradamus and I Am. Them probably the only two albums. And the QB album I didn't really get to hear yet. I can't find them. But when I do, I'll definitely pick them up. But this definitely is a flawless album. You know, it's no need to say anything bad about it. It's nothing bad you can say about it. And if you want to be 100, it ain't got no features on it. I mean, some would say, oh, AZ is on there, but I mean, that's just a homeboy, you know, looking out for a homeboy at the same time, you know what I mean? So if you look at the track list, you know, because I got this booklet in my hand right now, it do say feature vocals AZ. You know what I'm saying? That's vocals. It's no features on this album, so he put out a body of work with no features. You know, not to say that it haven't been done up until this point now, because of course we know that it's been artists that has done that, but it's not too many artists that can put out an album, a body of work of this caliber, and hold the album themselves, like with no features, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty dope. The way everybody came in, as far as the producers on the album, it just was incredible. You know, let's run through the producers real quick. You got DJ Premier, he did New York State of Mind. Life's a Bitch, who produced that. LES produced that joint. And then you got The World Is Yours, produced, Pete Rock produced that. You know what I mean? Let's see. The World Is Yours, Halftime, that was produced by The Large Professor. Memory Lane, that was produced by DJ Premier. One Love, produced by Q-Tip. You know what I'm saying? One Time for Your Mind, produced by Large Professor. Represent, produced by DJ Premier. It Ain't Hard to Tell, produced by Large Professor. So you see, he stuck with a great niche of producers, but it's not really a lot. It's maybe like 3 to 4 producers, and that's what a lot of people were saying for as far as the newer projects, when they wanted Nas to, you know, work on not really another Illmatic, but get with the formula of those producers to produce, you know, another album, body of work. And I just think that with artists, you always go towards the future and not try to go back and recreate the past. But this definitely a solid album, classic album. You know, this is my thoughts on it. I didn't have to break it down. We all know what it is about it. But y'all let me know what y'all think. 1.